I'm Isabel Masozera with the latest. From our studios in Kigali, Rwanda, President Paul Kagame arrived in Doha, Qatar for a business visit. Also coming up, the Defense Minister General Major Albert Murasira and the head of International Military Cooperation participated in the opening of the Schuman Forum. Thanks for choosing RTV News. Topping our coverage, President Paul Kagame arrived in Doha, Qatar for a business visit. He met with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad, to discuss the bilateral relations between the two countries. Qatar is the main investor in the Bugesera International Airport project with a 60% stake. Qatar is also now in talks to acquire 49% of Rwanda. As a way of strengthening the ties between the two countries, the Emir of Qatar was a guest at the CHOGM meetings held in Kigali in June last year. And President Kagame was also one of the dignitaries who attended the opening of the World Cup Games in Qatar. Qatar has continued to demonstrate willingness to find a solution to the issues between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Moving on, the Defense Minister General Major Albert Murasira and the head of the International Military Cooperation participated in the opening of the Schuman Forum on Defense and Security Partnerships in Brussels. Organized by the European Union Commission, the European Union appreciates the role that Rwanda has played in maintaining peace and security in other countries on the African continent. In more news, parliamentarians who are members of the Community Welfare Committee found it appropriate for working hours to facilitate building a good family. This was revealed when the members of the committee began to review the bill amending the labor law in Rwanda. Take a look.
It's been 3 months since the implementation of the law starting to work at 9 a.m. Deputies have shown that it is very important in the process of building healthy and safe society. However, they find that there are things that should be strengthened, especially the campaigning in the private sector and others. I want them to tell us clearly the audit before this decision was made, to see that the education and upbringing of these children went back and that what they did was based on studies.
Uburezi n'uburere bw'abana bushobora kuba bugenda busubira inyuma kubera ko ababyeyi babo bakora amasaha menshi.
Nashimye ko mwarebye mugasanga ko.
We appreciate you looking at it and finding that reducing the hours to 40 a week would help in education. But the law applies to all Rwandans in general. But there are places where it's not respected, especially in the private sector. To complain to the employer now, you know that sometimes it doesn't go well. Because if one complains, tomorrow they will fire you. On this Tuesday, the Public Welfare Commission began to review the draft law amending the Rwandan Labour Law of 2018, including the approval of these changes to working hours. Honorable Uwamariya Odette, chairperson of the Welfare Commission in the Chamber of Deputies, insists that these changes are the interests of people, especially for the purpose of building a better society without neglecting the development of work.
One of the
things that the government show and we support is that the family members work but also take care of their responsibilities as parents, including staying with the children and preparing them to go to school. The Minister of Public Service and Labor, Gwanyindo Kairangwa Fanfan, says that the decision to reduce the working hours and the starting time in particular will continue to be campaigned both in private sector to improve the way it is put into work, but that the benefit brought to the family have started to show in these past 3 months. In recent days, non-governmental organizations that protect the rights of workers had pointed out that though the government had decided to change the working hours, it was important that this decision be aligned with the labor law. Jessica Agasaro, RTV News.
Thank you, Jessica. For the first time in Rwanda and the world, groundbreaking droid technology is going to be used when drones are delivering goods and medicines to residential homes and different institutions that need the service. The private sector and some of the citizens say that drones will ease transportation of different products, especially those that are urgently needed. Prince Manzi has more.
In Mhanga district, in one of the spaces where containers of medicines and blood are prepared for delivery to different health centers, and currently these drones are used to transport semen for animal insemination. As the drone usage technology continues to develop, so is the increase in innovations in public education of the people's lives. In Rwanda, drones are going to be used in business services as they will be used in delivering goods, medicines and others with accordance to their weighing capacity. The general manager of Zipline Rwanda, Benimana Shami Eden, reveals that this program will commence in Kigali City in this year and the drones will be different from the ones used to deliver medicines and blood. Considering the table here, it just falls in between. The radius is 0.5 meters. This new service, we want to work closely with the clients to understand their views for the delivery to be effective. So in the end of this year, this program will start. These drones take off a 15-kilometer long journey. Public and private sectors, especially supermarkets and pharmacies, are allowed to use these drones in delivering goods and medicines to their clients. These drones are to permanently stay where these companies are according to the number of clients, and if the number deducts, the drones are used by others. This move is appreciated by individuals in these sectors.
It's a very innovative idea. Maybe the first in the world, but at least among the first.
We usually use normal transportation, using bikes. But if drones are introduced, it will ease transport because it won't be affected by the jam. It will be fast and will reduce the time wasted by people who come looking for the services. Entrepreneurs owning supermarkets say that the use of drones is a great alternative that is fast and secure.
For us, specifically in the near future, we wanted to introduce online shopping, and we already set ways of delivering, but drones will be of a great importance.
It will be very easy, and it will be a development to our companies and will fasten our services. And of course, they have to consider the cost, because if the cost will also be affordable, then it will be great. The use of drones will now replace other systems used to deliver products in the Kigali city, as these drones have a limited number of weights to carry. The Zipline Rwanda assures that delivery cost will be cheap. In accordance to what people mostly purchase, with reference to e-commerce, medicines bought in pharmacies, we found most of these products to be less than 3 kilograms. So the drone will carry 3 kilograms packages. The cost of this new drone will be less than that of the one we had, and the price continues to deduct with accordance to the number of clients we receive. The drone technology in Rwanda started in 2016 with 3 drones working with the Kabgayi hospital only. Currently, there are 75 drones delivering medicines to 430 health centers across the country. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince. Now, citizens and members of parliament endorsed the request for maternity leave to be extended beyond 12 weeks and for paternity leave to go from 4 days to a month to enable parents to spend more time with their children. We go to Jessica Agasaro for more.
The labor law usually provides for 12 weeks of leave for a female employee who has given birth, while a husband only gets 4 days. Residents are expressing their views on what needs to be changed in these holidays. There are things that are needed at home, and your husband may go to get you some cassava leaves or porridge for you, because there's no one else with you, and if possible, he cooks for you, because you aren't recovered really. But after 1 week, you can maybe do that all on your own.
A 4 days leave is a short period for a man. It should be 2 weeks at least, so that when he comes back to work, the stress will be over and he will be at ease to do all the job and will be well rested.
This is also shared by some of the MPs who are members of the People's Welfare Commission, who testify that this would be a great value in considering the draft law amending the labor law in Rwanda.
Those 4 days are very short for a woman who had a problem and gave birth to a premature baby. For 4 days, the man is the one who takes care of her. But when the doctor decides to ask the mother to stay there because of how they see her health, definitely the man has no way to monitor the health of the mother and the child.
iriya minsi ine nk'uko biri no muri stati rusange.
I understand that if it's possible in the future, that will be established. Then the time will be extended to at least a month. For a man, 4 days are really short, because sometimes they end and you're still at the hospital with your family. You understand that 4 days are very short and useless. Honorable Wamaria Odette, the chairperson in the Social Welfare Commission in the Chamber of Deputies, insists that these articles requires in-depth discussions, but if the views of the people, MPs and others will be valued, but the interest of the people as a whole will be prioritized. We will consider all of these points in the draft law, taking into account the opinion of the plenary session or the commission itself. And all of this is reasonable if we prioritize the interest of the people as a whole. The Minister of the Public Service and Labor, Gwanyindo Kairangwa Fanfan, states that these ideas will continue to be discussed with other relevant institutions, including those responsible for social security and other, in order for both parents to get enough maternity leave. Especially regarding the paternity leave, the Ministry of Public Service and Labor advises that it be extended sooner or later with a campaign aimed at making the father uses this leave properly instead of using it as a holiday to celebrate that he not only gave birth but used it to take care of the baby and its mother. Jessica Agasaro, RwandaTV News.
Definitely an interesting debate there. But we move on with more news. Some of the primary and secondary school teachers as well as directors say that there should be more history books, especially on the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, to support the learning process. Prince Manzi has more on this report. We'll be coming back to that story. Some of the organizations that are in charge of promoting unity and reconciliation, peace building and resilience among Rwandans show that although there are still wounds among the people that are growing up in Rwanda, there is still need to address them, and they're saying that there's need to focus on the trauma and its effects. Olivon Tete has this report.
Depression, isolation, drug abuse, and various other symptoms are some of the symptoms of trauma experienced by young people who have survived the genocide against the Tutsi, those born to parents who survived, and those born after the genocide against the Tutsi. However, despite the fact that such situations has been seen in these different categories, numerous programs, including dialogue groups, social therapy programs, and others, have been established to help those who have been affected so that they can become resilient and develop confidence for the future.
These discussions joined us together, both the youth who survived the genocide and those who were born after the genocide. We assisted each other in the process of healing wounds. And when we discussed together having the same background, it is easier to understand each other because you take them as your own family. Now, I am currently studying university because of the impact of those dialogue groups.
byaramfashije cyane kuko hari aho twari turi bitewe n'amateka ababyeyi bacu babaye.
This has greatly benefited me because looking back where we came from due to the history of our parents, we grew up in bad conditions. But after joining these dialogue groups, we met with other people with the same history, and this assisted us because it showed us that we are not the only people with such problems. Some of the groups that support initiatives aimed at healing, fostering resiliency, and fostering unity and peace among Rwandans note that these initiatives have produced positive outcomes.
Young people who have different types of traumas. So there are those who survived the genocide, there are those who don't know their families because there are those who were born out of rape during the genocide. So one is to create forums where they can have an opportunity to discuss because when they don't meet like this, each group might be on its side thinking they're the only ones with wounds, with trauma. But when they have an opportunity to discuss, then they start understanding, okay, so of course I have trauma, I have faced difficult events, but there are other youth with other realities who also have a degree of trauma that needs. So creating that forum where at least they first and foremost get to understand the severity of history and how it impacted different youth differently. I think that's goal number one. And when we get to a point where they can open up and start discussing, irrespective of their backgrounds, that's already a big step.
According to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Unity and Civic Engagement, Clarisse Munezero, efforts are being made to find long-term solutions to the issues and effects that various members of the Rwandan community are still dealing with as a result of the genocide against the Tutsi. One of the responsibilities of the Ministry of Unity and Civic Engagement is to build a community free from wounds and with resilience. We assist the youth in various programs such as dialogue groups, together with elder people so that they can discuss about the past. There are other programs such as Urungano civic education trainings and also assisting young people in development projects so that they can fight against poverty, but especially there are other existing programs that assist Rwandans and they are carried out in cells where residents live or in other various places. In discussions on healing of wounds that brought together youth and these organizations, it was pointed out that it is necessary to continue to strengthen dialogue programs, build the capacity of young people so that they can develop themselves, and many more to assist them to fight against trauma. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Some of the primary and secondary school teachers as well as directors say that there should be more history books, especially on the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda, to support the learning process. We now have this report.
Since 2015, primary and secondary education as well as the TVETs, the history course was added in the chapter of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. Currently, these educators say that they teach it, but there are various challenges.
We do teach well the genocide against the Tutsi history, but the book elaborating more on it are still few, and the few are not available.
These challenges were also tackled on by the senators in the Rwanda Parliament in the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security after their working visit in different schools across the country aimed at following up on the teachings of the genocide against the Tutsi history. The report presented by this committee demonstrates some of the problems still found in the teachings of this history. And when you go to these schools, you find that they do not use this curriculum guidance. They do not. What is obvious is the lack of English language connaissance in the secondary school teachers, and it is an issue to be addressed. When it comes to this course, a child of a survivor who is a teacher currently and the child of a perpetrator who is a teacher currently, will they teach this course the same? The Minister of Education, Dr. Valentino Maria, states that these challenges are to be addressed through building teachers' capacity and decrease their number where there is still few.
We found that teaching the genocide against the Tutsi course is not easy for the teachers, and the reasons are many, but mostly the past of these teachers. And currently, the teachers being enrolled are young, so it is essential to train them. Another challenge is the lack of books. due to not enough budget, but as we said, it is changing.
Currently, TVETs have less number of history teachers as there are 160. The Ministry of Education said that it is because this course was not in these schools. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince. The University of Rwanda shows that there has been progress in research and that there's so much to be proud of after the 20 years of the university being supported by Sweden to develop research that aims to provide information in the solving of some of the problems Rwandans face. Betty Mutoni brings us this report.
A fruitful partnership stretching over 20 years between the University of Rwanda and Sweden was established in order to build the capacity of lecturers in the University of Rwanda and to promote research as included in the national goals of developing a knowledge-based economy. After 20 years of this cooperation being implemented, there have been many achievements in education at the University of Rwanda, and other activities are still being implemented to improve the well-being of Rwandans.
I was in a university with that particular academic culture of sharing and interacting, and I'm really happy that the knowledge that I got helped me to do my job, my teaching job, very well. So far I have taught many students, many of whom graduated and are in the different government positions, and others are self-employed. I also involved many students and supervised many students in their research projects.
When it comes to research, mainly if I focus on what we do, nutrition has so many components, can be caused by different factors. We are assessing different factors that can contribute to undernutrition or malnutrition in general. Also, we want to see how milk being produced, how should be contribute to the well-being of the children.
The acting chancellor of the University of Rwanda, Dr. Didas Kayihura, says that during the recent collaboration with Sweden, there is a lot that has been changed in the education sector in Rwanda, especially in the University of Rwanda.
This project, this partnership also contributed in enhancing our research capacity, not only by training those researchers, but also availing funds for research locally here. And for example, those who graduated or those who were already here at the University of Rwanda would prepare a project of a given concern, maybe in a different discipline, in agriculture, in health, in education, and then it gets funded through this partnership for it.
The ambassador of Sweden in Rwanda confirms that the cooperation with Rwanda in education, especially in the development of research, is very important because research is the key to answers to certain problems.
I think what's important is that we are not defined by the mistakes we make and what the challenges are, but how we rise to those challenges and sitting down together, knowing that together we can overcome challenges. Both on the Rwandan side and on our side, there was a conviction that capacity building, human resources development is key to develop a nation, and it's the very basis for nation building.
This university conducts research in biology, health, climate change research, and more. Currently, the number of PhD students sponsored by the program stands at 116, while over time 88 have graduated in their PhD and other 300 have completed their master's degree. Betty Mutoni, RwandaTV News.
That's RwandaTV News today. It's always a pleasure bringing you the latest on the continent in Rwanda and beyond. I'm Isabel Masoza on behalf of the technical team and everybody that makes this happen. Thanks for watching.